All right, so here's our unboxing of Ben Pack Quickjack, the 5,000 pound rated deals. Here with my neighbor Carl. Say hi, Carl.
How you doing?
We're doing a little test because Carl's got a Cadillac SUV, and we figured if let's go ahead and open this thing up. I figured if it can support the Cadillac, it can definitely support the LTD. And if you remember our last dyno video, we had quite a bit of smoke coming from the leaking rear main seal, and well, oddly enough, Home Depot just ran a monster sale on this, and I figured it was too good of a deal to pass up, so we have this. Let's check it out. Let's see exactly what's involved. All right, so here's the warning. It says, let's see if I can make sure this is focused. Only raise your Quickjack frames with a vehicle on them, so you can't do it unloaded. And then this kind of made me chuckle. Do not do this. And since we have your attention, so the idea here is you don't lower it lower than the car can go without tires on it, or with tires on it, because it won't have enough mechanical leverage to actually get the thing up in the air. So that's kind of an interesting, fun point. All right, so we hit our first snag. See the Schrader valve here at the end of the air cylinder? Yeah, these air cylinders are supposed to be pressurized to 50 psi. Our Quickjack was missing the Schrader valve. This one I actually had to run to Napa to get a replacement. And if I'm going to be completely honest, the threads are a little bit looser than I would like, but you know, I was still able to get it snug, and it's still holding 50 psi. I mean, we called in, gave them the serial number, they knew my name, address, and everything else, and they said they've been having issues with these, so you know, they're going to send it out right away. But unfortunately, being Friday, that doesn't do us a whole lot of good right now. Fortunately, like I said, Napa had that fitting. It's a 1/8 inch NPT to just a regular Schrader valve. A little bit of annoyance there. Oh, another thing that you're definitely going to need, by the way, rear main seal leak. The other thing you're going to need is you're going to need some hydraulic fluid for the reservoir. You're going to need 2.1 quarts. You can use either hydraulic fluid or ATF. I actually have High Guard here because that's what I run in the Power Glide, but I decided to pick up some cheap and cheerful ATF that meets the required specs while I happen to be at Napa picking up the missing Schrader valve. All right, moving on. My neighbor's going to pull his Cadillac in, and this is going to be the real proof in the pudding. And by the way, we also figured out that we want the hoses facing this way. So apparently it's got bad wheel hubs and a flex pipe that's leaking. Perfectly straight. It's going to start lifting here in a second. And when it pops up pretty fast. Alright, so we want it right against the rocker. I'll check the other side here. Oh, you do it. It's your car. Keep going. I want to go down that side. There you go, stop. That's max height. And the garage door will just close.
I mean, what if we dropped it again and then that might loosen it up? No.
It might. Just lower it till we start putting spring pressure on it, you're thinking? That might not be a bad idea. You know, not lower it all the way, right?
Yeah.
Just till there's some weight on the spring and maybe it'll pop it.
Yeah.
Alright, let me get some jack stands on.
Oh shit. Oh, well now it's the wheels touching the floor.
Keep going. Let it pop. There you go. Sounded right.
Let me make sure. Okay, now this.
That was good thinking on your part. Let me get this thing up so it's at least on the first safeties. I think that was it. There we go. All right, yeah. I'm actually recording this on another day, but I really wanted to go over how these locks work on the Quickjack. So this is the lever that's a lock. This is just a loose cam here. And down here, you'll see a piece of steel welded into the frame. So when you're raising this thing up, this is how this works. So the cam is opened and it's around that welded in piece of steel. It drops in. So now when you lower it a little bit, it locks into place. Now I can't possibly move this. This is still loose, but this is locked in really tight. So if you want to take it down, it's actually kind of slick. I have to give them credit. This is pretty nifty. We go back up. And all you got to do is lift this up. You can do it with one finger. It takes no effort. And now that cam is dropped, so when you go to lower it down, in fact, I have jack stands under it, so I got to move those. Let me get the one on the other side. So now we go to lower it down, and I'm going to keep the the controller here in the shot. So we hit down, and you see the cam just slides, and it goes nice and smooth and easy. Why is it leaking? That's not good. Well, that was absolutely brutal. And in fact, that was my fault. Many of you people may not have figured out what exactly happened there. I basically violated one of the warnings in the manual. It said when raising or lowering a Quickjack, the operator must pay attention. A common safety issue is lack of attention. For example, operators must not be looking at a smartphone. I wasn't looking at a smartphone, but I was, shooting a video, so I was looking at the camera screen. And if you still don't know what happened, well, I'll tell you in a second. But there's one other thing before I put the manual away, because I do have visual aids for what happened. Check out this warning. This one's a little bit creepy. While handling a hydraulic cylinder or a hydraulic hose, also wear gloves. In rare cases, a needle-like stream of hydraulic fluid can penetrate fingers, hands, or arms. Such a puncture can feel like a bite, electric shock, or a prick. While it may seem like a minor issue, any amount of hydraulic fluid injected into the human body is a serious issue. Anyone suffering from such a puncture wound should be immediately taken to a hospital emergency room to determine the extent of the injury. And then it goes on to say, it may seem like a minor issue, but it could be life-threatening. So that's another thing. I mean, this should just all remind us that these are not toys. This is the real deal. You could hurt yourself. Let's be careful. Hey, let's be careful out there. What was that? Hill Street Blues, I think, right? If you're old enough to remember that. But anyway, so here is what actually happened. Visual aid time. And this is a little bit weird for me because, it's I'm working sideways. So this is our garage floor right here. Here is our car. I could use a little bit of lube. And somewhere around here, I have my Quickjack. There's my Quickjack. That's what it looks like extended. Now I have to actually stand up to make this work. All right, let's spin the car around so we can really see what happened. So I was working on the passenger side of the car, all right? So on the passenger side of the car, and by the way, this is not Quickjack's fault. This was entirely my doing. I should not, the Schrader valve, yeah, that kind of sucked. But this part, this was on me. So I do love the thing as a tool. I think it's fantastic. But anyway, so the car was sitting like this. And on the driver's side, if you notice, and if you still haven't figured it out, I'm about to spill. What I didn't do is unlock the driver's side. So the passenger side went down and lowered normally, and that's one of the reasons why it looked like it was kind of leaking, because what was happening was the hydraulic fluid was transferring from one cylinder to another, while this side was locked in the up position. So the car actually ended up, it's a little bit tricky, the car actually ended up kind of like this. This kicked out to the side a bit, and it was just resting on the rocker panel, this corner. And if it wasn't, if this had kicked out, then because of the shape of the Quickjack, the whole thing would have come crashing down and this would have popped up. It would have been really ugly, but it was really close. In fact, the only like damage to the body is on the underside of this rocker panel. And there's a dent there, but it's not, you know, honestly, you have to be underneath the car and I have to point it out to you to actually see it. And then you'd be like, oh yeah, I can kind of see it. So it's pretty minor, but still unfortunate, but not happy about it. But hey, it is what it is. It could have been a lot worse. So, you know, again, so this just kicked out and it was just barely there. Fortunately, this gives you a really long lever arm. I was able to push this down and slide this back underneath the car. So it was sitting like this, and then I was able to lower it properly. So that's what happened. I simply did not unlock that side. We know the locks work, so that's a good thing. So there you have it. You know, I don't make mistakes like that, and that really creeped me out. I mean, I make terrible life choices. I'll be the first person to admit that. But when it comes to mechanical things like this, I am generally not an idiot. And unfortunately, that's kind of what happened here. You know, I was busy shooting a video. I was preoccupied. I didn't look up, and I didn't have a whole lot of experience with this thing, and there you go. So while the Quickjack itself gets a huge thumbs up from me, it's a great tool. It's obviously extremely durable, as you're about to find out, because I'm about to show you what we had to do on Carl's SUV to get those hubs off. It's not a toy, you know? So, hey, be safe out there. Let's go back in the garage. All right, Carl. Show us what you got. Damn. It's moving. I saw the bar move down. You gotta be kidding me.
No fucking way, dude. Dude, it hasn't even budged. Or maybe. Alright.
You got the drop light right behind you if you want to.
The what? More? Okay.
Yeah? There you go. It's out. All right, stop hitting it now, Carl.
Sorry.
Woo. And that's how you work on a Cadillac. The precise luxury machines they are. First off, you weld some scrap steel together and then you hit it with a sledgehammer. I told you we'd get it out.
Most important thing, never buy one. They're just all trouble.
It's gone.
There we go.
There we go. Yep, that's the only way to do it. Slide hammer ain't gonna cut it.
Sec.
There we go. All right.
Both sides are the same.
A lot easier than the other side.
Yeah.
All right, good job. And the bend pack is holding up the Quickjacks. So the Caddy was up on the Quickjack for 3 straight days. There were some leaks in the hoses that we had to fix, but that was part of the installation, so that's not on them. The Schrader valve missing was the only negative thing really I have to say about it. That thing was actually pretty awesome, you know. It lifted that 4,400 pound SUV without any issues, and of course I've got the 5,000 pound units, and you know, obviously my garage is minuscule, so guess where I'm keeping those things? How about right down there? How slick is that? And that's when they live, or that's where they live, so when I need them, just slide them out and jack it up. So again, you know, the Quickjacks basically get thumbs up from me. You will need the pinch blocks, which is another $100, so expect to spend that. On the SUV, you really kind of want the SUV adapters because you know, you're limiting how far up you can raise the thing. That was a little bit of an issue for us, but not huge. You know, we did manage to do the hubs on a Cadillac, which are a nightmare, along with the mid-pipe, which is also a nightmare, especially when it's 10 years old and rusted shut. So anyway, so there you go. So there's my review. Don't forget to click the notification bell and subscribe.